This podcast is an invitation to feel and experience the souls of famous old Hollywood homes and to have an in-depth journey to the areas where they're located through interviews with longtime residents. Either you're a fan of old Hollywood in Los Angeles, planning to have a vacation, or, an even bigger step, considering a certain area for your future home. This is your opportunity to receive valuable information and insightful advice you won't find anywhere else.
Hello, and welcome to my podcast. Are you in the mood for California? Today, we'll feel and experience the literary soul of Los Angeles, featuring an interview with inspiring Claire Strofield.
For me, the creative process shifts even within a genre. So I'm focusing on writing novels at the moment, and every novel, it wants to be uncovered in a different way. That's interesting. I typically decide I want to do something or try something different, and then I just dive in. When I was doing playwriting in San Francisco, I read a bunch of plays, got inspired, wrote, and it doesn't have to be great straight away. Like, it's giving myself the opportunity to learn, like, oh, how does it feel to write in this way, to write in this format? And my greatest joy still today is hearing actors say the words that I write on stage.
Masha Korpacheva is a California-based realtor and a member of the National Association of Realtors in Los Angeles. She's an advocate for selling and buying homes with soul and practicing mindfulness in real estate. With master's degrees in spiritual psychology and linguistics, Masha brings all of her skills to work with her clients. An intuit and empath, she has touched many lives with her outstanding ability to see beyond the visible and helping to come to better understanding of issues and their resolutions. An adventurous world traveler, from climbing Mount Kilimanjaro in Tanzania to exploring the Galapagos Islands, Masha has a particular passion for the City of Angels. Having landed in this paradise and adopted it as her home, she's been sharing old Hollywood stories since 2007. In the mood for California, feel the soul of old Hollywood.
And now, are you ready to feel and experience the literary soul of Los Angeles? Los Angeles has always been more than a backdrop. It is a living character, constantly rewritten by those who come here to dream, to search, and to make sense of its contradictions. Beneath its endless sun and neon nights, writers have found something rare, a city that mirrors the imagination itself. It's a place of myth and reinvention, where reality blurs with illusion and stories bloom from both beauty and decay. In the early 20th century, the literary pulse of Los Angeles began to take shape in the smoky rooms of screenwriters and the quiet corners of rented apartments. Raymond Chandler gave the city its unmistakable noir heartbeat. Through the eyes of his detective Philip Marlowe, LA became a city of hard truths and dark glamour, a place where moral ambiguity was as thick as the smog. Chandler's Los Angeles was both beautiful and bruised, a labyrinth of desire and deceit that forever changed the way the city would be written about. At the same time, Nathaniel West arrived in the midst of the Great Depression and saw the city through a lens both surreal and tragic. In The Day of the Locust, he captured Hollywood as a fever dream, a place where people came chasing fame only to be consumed by it. His vision of LA was prophetic, a sharp critique of the American obsession with success and spectacle. Then came a wave of writers who found not only the glamour of the city, but its existential weight. Ayn Rand, who moved to Los Angeles in the 1920s, saw in Hollywood both creative opportunity and moral contradiction. Having fled the Soviet Union, she found the promise of freedom here intoxicating, but also fragile. While working as a screenwriter and developing her philosophy of objectivism, she watched the industry's machinery up close and wove her observations into her later novels, including The Fountainhead and Atlas Shrugged. To Rand, Los Angeles embodied both the glory and peril of human ambition, the ideal and the illusion intertwined. By the 1960s, Los Angeles had become a mirror for America's shifting identity. Joan Didion, a native Californian, arrived with a keen eye and a journalist's precision, yet she wrote like a poet chronicling a civilization on the edge. In Slouching Towards Bethlehem and Play It As It Lays, she dissected the city's psyche, its disconnection, its restless beauty, and its quiet despair. Didion understood the paradox of LA better than anyone, that here, under the brightness of the sun, people could still lose themselves in shadow. Her essays and novels revealed a Los Angeles that was both mirage and truth, fragile and eternal. In the decades that followed, the city's literary landscape expanded to include new voices and perspectives. Charles Bukowski, raw and unfiltered, chronicled the streets, bars, and boarding houses of working-class Los Angeles with biting humor and startling tenderness. His poetry and prose captured the human struggle within the city's concrete sprawl, the loneliness, the hunger, and the strange beauty of survival. Meanwhile, Wanda Coleman, often called the unofficial poet laureate of Los Angeles, gave voice to those left out of the Hollywood dream. Her fierce, rhythmic language and social commentary revealed the city's deeper truths, those found not in its movie sets, but in its neighborhoods, its heartbreaks, its humanity. For each of these writers, Los Angeles was never just a place. It was an experience, a paradox, a question that could never be fully answered. Some came searching for success, others came seeking themselves. What they found was a city vast enough to hold their contradictions, glamour and grit, faith and disillusionment, light and shadow. And so Los Angeles remains what it has always been, a city written in stories. Every writer who arrives here joins a lineage of dreamers and observers, each adding their voice to the great unfinished narrative of a place that continues to inspire, confound, and transform. In LA, stories don't just get told, they live, they shimmer, and they never stop evolving. And here we are. Welcome to Los Angeles. It is so wonderful to have Claire Strofield with me today. Claire Strofield is a founder of End-of-Life Concierge Beverly Hills and a compassionate guide for life's most profound transition. With a Bachelor of Science in Pre-Med and 5 years as a cytotechnologist at the Southern Hemisphere's largest private pathology laboratory, Claire brings both scientific understanding and deep humanity to end-of-life care. Her journey has been beautifully varied, from teaching elementary school in London to executive search in biotech, where she earned top consultant honors across EMEA and the US. But it's her personal story that illuminates her calling. This year, she released a memoir about the precious time spent with her little brother before his passing from cancer in childhood. A natural storyteller, Claire has written for theater, penned novellas and spec scripts, and is currently working on 2 novels while building her death doula practice. In this episode, she shares what brought her to Los Angeles and how a life rich with diverse experiences has shaped her approach to helping families navigate life's final chapter with grace, dignity, and peace. Hello, Claire.
Hi, Maria.
Well, thank you so much for finding the time to have this conversation with me. I have a feeling it will be a very interesting and very deep one.
Me too. I mean, it's an honor to be here, and thank you so much for inviting me.
Of course, of course. And you have quite a history. You have lived in Sydney, London, San Diego, San Francisco, and now you're in Los Angeles. If you were to describe Los Angeles to someone who has never been here, what words or feelings would you choose?
I would describe Los Angeles as heart-opening, sun-drenched, dreamy, inspiring. And to me, like Los Angeles is like a Rubik's Cube. Like it takes a little while to figure her out, but if you keep trying, like one day everything will just unlock. And suddenly, instead of being on the outside, you'll be on the inside looking out. And LA is magical like that.
Wow, what a beautiful description. No wonder you're a writer. So, and what does the city's vibe mean to you personally? How do you see yourself here?
I feel that Los Angeles was always a place that I was trying to get to because even if it does sound a little bit corny, it is really symbolic to me of where your dreams can come true. It's not limited by class or upbringing or like financial background. There is a lot of support, especially in California, to be whatever you want to be and do whatever you want to do.
Yes, yes, very true. You kind of like have the freedom to reinvent yourself and be whoever you feel you are.
Exactly.
So, Claire, do you have any favorite places in Los Angeles that maybe feel like they hold your story, or places where you feel most alive and inspired? Because Los Angeles is so vast. So you must have some places that are more important to you.
Yes, this is a great question. I love going to Larchmont Village to write. And then I like walking around the streets there because they're so beautiful. The houses, the gardens, it's like lovely. And then I love walking on Venice Beach because I feel that just being by the ocean really cleanses my energy, and being such an empath, it's really helpful to like walk by the ocean and feel that energy.
Interesting. Why do you choose Venice Beach? Like not Santa Monica, not Malibu, because you can go to any beach. Why is it Venice?
I think the answer is gonna sound a bit funny, but probably because I know how to get there. And a friend of mine walks her dogs there, and so once I went with her, and I thought, oh, this is very easy and straightforward. Like I know where to park. I walk up and get a coffee. There's a Starbucks, there's a really lovely local coffee shop, and the same people are always sitting out the front. And it feels like a community. That's what I like about Venice. It really feels like this little pocket of a community. And you would think, oh, it's a touristy place. But if you're getting there at 7 a.m. on a weekday to do a walk, you're gonna like see locals. And that's really cool. That's what I like about it.
Oh, very interesting. And how different is Venice? Well, besides that, it's right next to the ocean from the area where you live.
I feel that where I live, I'm in West Hollywood at the moment, and it's a safe area here. I feel safe in West Hollywood. I love my neighbors. They're all very kind and generous. And, there's a lot of entertainment, like a party town. But I think I'm more of a morning person. And so that's what I like about Venice, because you're close to nature there. And whereas in West Hollywood, it's more fun at night here to go out to the main street and go to parties or the clubs and the bars along Santa Monica Boulevard.
Very, very interesting. Very interesting. Yes. And Los Angeles is a collection of all these different neighborhoods, and they vary so much, like depending on the area where you go. You see yourself right away almost as a completely different person, like the way this area vibes with you. Would you say so?
That's so insightful. And I love that you said that. It's true. And I wanted to mention, you brought to mind another town that I love, which is Sawtell. And it's like a hidden gem between halfway between West Hollywood and Santa Monica, and there's a little Japantown. So I was
Mm-hmm.
talking to the shopkeeper there, and she said, this is like New York because the energy, the people, it's walkable. It's also a little Japantown. So yeah, I love Sawtell, and I go have coffee there and write and go to the garden center there. It's really cool.
Oh, wow. You have explored Los Angeles so well. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about your writing, which is a big part of your life. And you have written across various forms, plays, short stories. You wrote a memoir. You also write screenplays. How does your creative process shift between these genres? And is there one specific genre, maybe, that you feel most at home in?
Yeah, I love this question. For me, the creative process shifts even within a genre. So I'm focusing on writing novels at the moment, and every novel, it wants to be uncovered in a different way. That's interesting. I typically decide I want to do something or try something different, and then I just dive in. Like I go, like when I was doing playwriting in San Francisco, I read a bunch of plays, got inspired, wrote, and it doesn't have to be great straight away. Like it's giving myself the opportunity to learn, like, oh, how does it feel to write in this way, to write in this format? And my greatest joy still today is hearing actors say the words that I write on stage. So writing for theatre, and I remember during COVID, I wrote a full-length play and I recruited theatre actors to perform on a Zoom. My friend is a director and she hopped on to give some direction, and I was beaming for the whole 2 hours. Like I was so happy because there's some magic there where two creatives come together and make something special.
What did it feel like to hear your own words being said by an actor?
Well, I was writing like an absurdist piece, and it was meant to be funny. So I was laughing a lot because I thought I was hilarious, but I don't know if I was, or if I was just so thrilled that the actors did such a good job, because, you know, theater is they're big and they're extroverted in their performance. And yeah, I felt like lots and lots of Christmases all at once.
How interesting. Did it feel that you were seen and understood and it was very tangible?
Yeah, I hadn't thought of it like that, but I'm sure that's how it felt, because when you write something that's being embraced in real time and you're witnessing the reaction, there's a lot of joy in that. There's a lot of, yeah, like you said, acknowledgement, you know. And then
Right.
short stories, you know, you mentioned those. They've been fun to write for competitions that I would do with a friend, and we would both submit, or like to work through heavy areas of my life, you know, like transition periods. That's where I've used short stories, you know, before.
Yes. So is it easier to just complete like a certain phase and to make it short, right?
Yeah, it's like with the short stories that I compiled in a book, I was using prompts. So every day I would like find a prompt and then I would write from it as a stream of consciousness. And what's interesting is you see what's coming out. It's like looking into a mirror and you can see, oh, that's what's going on with me. But you're writing a story about something else. And so through that medium and through having a prompt, like for example, one of the prompts was we kept it in the basement. That was one of the prompts. Then I wrote a story about a plant that was actually so toxic, it would just spew this verbal abuse at people. And they kept this plant locked in the basement.
Wow.
And there was a girl and she knew she shouldn't go down there, but she just wanted to see this plant. And so, and it kind of unfolds in this destruction. And it just showed me, oh yeah, that's the headspace I'm in, or the heart space I'm in. And it shows you like this deep stuff that you're working through if you don't try to force it and you just allow it to flow.
Wow. How interesting. So it's almost as if you use writing as your own therapy.
You know, I think you can't help but to do that if you're writing maybe for yourself. It's flowing through, and it's like, like I just got a new water filter because the last one had stopped working and the water tasted strange. And so I'm like the water filter, and the story's coming through me. So it's going to be influenced by whatever's inside me.
Very interesting. Like a water filter. Wow.
Yeah. And then I think that I've gravitated towards novels. Like that's the biggest gift for me at the moment because of the time and the space and the freedom and the satisfaction of completion. So I can write a novel, send it to my editor, get it into a very good shape, and then I can order a copy and put it on my bookshelf. And I feel really good about that I wrote that. And that for me is like a big joy, because a lot of the times if we're writing, I was writing for television pilots and spec scripts and screenplays, and sometimes you would send them out and you don't hear back, or you feel I felt it was unfinished because it couldn't get itself to the audience. It needed a lot more steps. And so that's why I went back to novels for now, just because I like that feeling of completion.
Interesting. Would you say that novel writing is your favorite form of writing?
It's just a different energy. Like novel writing is a more like patient, like I have to be more patient. And that's a skill I'm working on developing. And whereas when I was writing the TV pilot, I had so much energy and I was electric with that. And so it's just interesting. Like, yeah, writing a novel is like like running a marathon. It's like when I started running again, you get to a place where you don't realize you're running anymore because you're in flow. And that's what I like about the novel writing.
Oh, very interesting. You also work as a memoir ghostwriter, which is quite different because, we were just talking about your own writing and your own different perceptions through forms and the way you feel. Being a memoir ghostwriter is quite a different form. And what would you say draws you to helping others tell their own stories? And how do you find a balance between actually honoring their unique voice and bringing your own craft to the narrative?
Sometimes we need to consider and ask ourselves, what is my gift and how can I use that to serve? And I realized my gift is I'm a good writer and I love people and I love holding space for people. And I felt that this might be a way that I can serve by telling other people's stories. Because a lot of the time people don't have a great deal of time to sit down and write, or they don't know how to come into it, or they've started but they don't know how to finish, or they're not sure on the big picture with the book they want to write. And so when you have somebody that's been through that process and written stories and memoirs for other people, it's almost like the client just needs to show up and be willing to be a little bit vulnerable and have an idea of what they want to say or communicate. And then, yeah, it's like having a guide. I'm like the guide through the Amazon jungle, and my client is like, I want to go to this river. And I'm like, okay, I've got you. This is how we're going to get there. And so we go on a journey together.
What an interesting description. Yeah, that sounds right. Storytelling often emerges from the places where we've been and the lives that we have lived. And obviously, you have already had several lives through continents and different cities, different countries. When you look back at your journey from science and teaching into writing, what do you feel guided you most strongly toward becoming a full-time writer?
I've always been a writer since I was little, and I read and write a fair bit before I started kindergarten. And, my mother taught me how to write my name and my word endings and sentences. And so I had this confidence, which I'm very grateful for. And I decided in 2008 to go part-time at the job I was working as a cytologist, diagnosing cancer down the microscope. And I decided to go to 3 days a week so that I could write. And that was the time when I decided to take it seriously again. And so I've been steadily working on the craft since then, consciously. And I realized I got to a point in my life where I wasn't sure what to do next, but I knew that I just had to stop doing the things that weren't working. And one of the things that was making me really unhappy was the career that I had, which had served me really well as an executive headhunter, but it had passed its use by date. And so I decided to let that job go and focus on the writing and see, what can I do if I focus on this full time.
And how has it worked out for you so far? Do you feel that you made the right decision?
Yes, life is so interesting, like with the letting go. So I did it for 5 months. It was magical. The first 3 months, I'm like, I can't believe my life. This is amazing. And then months 4 and 5, I started to realize I need to be with people. I love writing, but I can't sit in a room 8 hours a day by myself. This isn't making me happy. And so that's where, the ghostwriting comes in, because I get to work with clients, or, other types of work comes in. So I've realized I'm happier if I have less time to write, because if I have too much time, I can waste time. So I would rather be focusing on my own personal writing, my novels, for a few hours each morning. And and with the rest of my time, be with people.
Yes, because you draw inspiration from people oftentimes.
Oh yeah, that is really true. Like, because I think after I spend time with people, I've been asking myself, how do I feel after spending time with this person? Do I feel energized? Do I feel drained? And so that's one of the ways, when we're deciding who to work with or who to be friends with, it helps in making those decisions. And, most of the time after I meet someone, I feel really good. And it does. It's like beautiful when it's an equal energy exchange.
Okay. And then my next question to you is about a completely different avenue of work that you're exploring. And I'm very, very deeply curious about it. And this new path that you have chosen as a doula for end of life transitions. What drew you to this very profound work? And how do you see it connecting or maybe influencing your storytelling?
So I looked into doing death doula or end of life compassionate care transition work when about 3 years ago. I was exploring other healing modalities like Reiki. I had worked with a medium to get in touch with my brother, and I ended up meeting a couple of women who were training to be death doulas. And at the time, I had a lot going on, and I thought it's not the right time. And then a couple of months ago, a friend started talking to me about an octopus, and she told me a really long story. And I remember thinking, that's odd. You're talking about this octopus for a really long time. I went into a bookshop, the next day. And as soon as I walked in, there was a big table full of books, all different books. And every book was about octopus.
Wow.
Octopi. And I thought, oh, I've seen octopuses twice now. And, they say that if it's a sign, you're meant to see it 3 times. So I let it go, and I was walking through the bookshop, and I saw a book, and it had this thick olive green spine with like gold markings, and I pulled the book out. I thought, this is interesting. And on the front, of course, was a giant octopus. It was Jules Verne, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, and other stories. And so I went home, and I have an animal guide book, and it tells you the meaning of each animal. The octopus. And the first meaning was, you should consider helping people transition to the next life.
Wow.
So that day, I had 3 years ago, I had researched every college in the US that trains death doulas, and I knew the college I wanted to go to. And so that day I signed up and I thought, let's try it, you know? So I think that's one of the qualities that I possess that's helped me to move through so much is just not hesitating. Sometimes it backfires, but 9 times out of 10, I just felt called and I saw what I thought was a sign and I thought, okay, this might be something to explore.
Wow, that's quite a story. Well, Claire, it is very obvious that your work is centered honoring the human experience. And you do embrace it in so many different ways and forms. What do you hope your words and presence give to the people who encounter you?
I've been told that I have a healing presence. I've been told that when I walk into a room, my presence alone is healing. I don't have to say anything or do anything. And they also say at the time when somebody is passing, that is the time or an opportunity for the most profound healing. And I really hope that my ability to hold 10 people's emotions, like a room with a patient and doctors and family, being able to so solidly hold everything with grace and transmute the energy. I feel like I'm not a healer, but I'm a channel. I'm somebody who can absorb and transmute energy. And I think that I would hope to be able to move through the world, whether it's through my stories and writing or through death doula work, with such grace and compassion and acknowledgement for people and meeting them exactly where they are.
Yes. Wow. Because once you stabilize this energy within yourself and you're fully aware of it, it's not that you become able to control it, but it's almost that you become this sorceress in a way, and that allows other people to reflect that in their own energy as well and have this kind of confidence about who they are, no matter where they're at in their lives or if they're transitioning this life. And being in touch with your own energy, I think, can really help other people to get in touch with their energy as well. And this presence that we all have very prominently in this world, owning who we are and what we are, is the biggest gift we can give to the universe, I think.
That's beautifully expressed. You know, a lot of healing happens with sitting and with somebody and accepting them without judgment. And that's very hard to do. And until you've done that for yourself, you know, like I realized it wasn't time 3 years ago for me to begin this work because I hadn't held myself through that. And I took a couple of years and I did the deep work and spent a lot of time sitting with myself and learning how to accept myself without judgment and healing myself. You know, you can't do that for somebody else until you've done it for yourself.
Yes, that's so true. Very true. Well, and today's conversation, happened at the right time and in the right place. And I'm so grateful for it. Thank you so much, Claire, for your presence and for this beautiful, calming energy. And I hope all the people who encounter you will always feel this peace that you emanate. And I hope listeners of this podcast will also take it with them into their own lives.
Thank you so much, Maria. It was an honor.
Thank you, Claire. Until next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you very much for tuning in to explore the literary soul of Los Angeles with my special guest, Claire Strofield. If you enjoy my podcast, In the Mood for California, please sign up for future episodes at your preferred platform and please leave your feedback. I really appreciate your time and support. You can also follow me on Instagram at In the Mood for California and check out my website www.inthemoodforcalifornia.com. Next time, we'll journey into the heart of Hollywood's conscience, a story about the power of film to awaken, to question, and to heal. It's a reflection on how movies can shape our collective conscience, spark change, and remind us who we are and who we might still become. This will be the final episode of the year, and I cannot wait to celebrate the close of 2025 with you.
In the Mood for California. Feel the soul of old Hollywood.